O king, thy fate is a transaction done at every hour between nature and thy soul.
Yeah, but you have to bring done into at every hour. So you
Okay,
can't drop
it
the word.
connects the, okay,
It's a transaction done at every hour.
got it.
Okay.
O king, thy fate is a transaction done at every hour between nature and thy soul, with God for its foreseeing arbiter.
Very good. Very good. Good reading also. That's the way it should be read. And we've done nature before, I think.
Yes, I think I will check.
Just check that. Yeah.
No, I have not marked it, so
Okay.
let's
So we'll have
okay.
to do that. Yes. And let's just take up that word arbiter for a moment,
Yeah.
because it's the person who has the sole power
Hmm.
to judge or determine something.
Okay.
So when we go into arbitration, and I have been in that experience one time in my life,
Hmm.
where a fellow who he was like a grandfather to us. He was an older man.
Hmm.
He put us in touch with a stock of this lady who owned this lake in Canada, northern Canada, and the water was the purest water in the world.
Wow.
He said, "You are going to make a lot of money on this." And he had us put all our savings into it, and it went under. We lost everything.
Hmm.
So we went to a lawyer, and he said, "I think the best thing here is not a lawsuit, but arbitration.
Hmm.
We will hear both sides, and then it'll be resolved." And it
Okay.
was resolved very, very, very well.
Okay.
This fellow's insurance company paid us not all that we had put in, but a lot of it.
Okay.
So that is arbitration.
Hmm.
So God is the foreseeing arbiter
Arbit.
here.
Yeah.
He's the one who has the power to decide the matter.
Yeah.
Good.
Yeah.
So we'll do nature now.
Nature, an active force of conscious being which realizes itself in its powers of self-experience, its powers of knowledge, will, self-delight, self-formulation, with all their marvelous variations, inversions, conservations, and conservations of energy, even perversions, is what we call Prakriti or nature in ourselves as in the cosmos.
Yeah, now you see you said conservations, but it's not con-
Conversions,
it's conversions of energy.
conversions of energy.
And interestingly, Sri Aurobindo says even perversions.
Mm. Yeah,
Now,
I was
why?
also wondering why it's like,
Yeah, why did he say that? We have
yeah.
to look at that, you see. So, this active force of conscious being does realize itself in its powers of self experience. And Sri Aurobindo tells us that the divine, wanting to broaden his understanding of himself, has also included darkness
Mm.
and perversion and
Yeah,
evil.
yeah.
It's something very difficult to understand. And when I've spoken at great length with Ranga, who does Life Divine with me, he says you have to get up to a higher level that's above the physical mind.
Mm.
And it's not even the higher mind that will do it, or even the illumined mind will not do it.
Mm.
You begin to get this understanding only from the intuitive mind, and then overmind,
Mind.
and finally supermind.
So,
But
mm.
so now we have an understanding even perversions
Mm.
are part of Prakriti or
Yeah,
nature.
yeah.
In ourselves as in the cosmos.
Yeah. All nature is simply the seer will. Seer will?
Seer will, yes,
Seer will.
yes. Are
The
you
knowledge.
recording, by the way? Did you record?
Yes, I'm recording.
Okay, wonderful. Okay.
All nature is simply the seer will, the knowledge force of the conscious being at work to evolve in force and form all the inevitable truth of the idea into which it has originally thrown itself.
So this capitalized idea, we have gone through this real idea. Remember, we talked about real idea? Or was that with
No.
somebody else? That might
Yeah,
have been
it's with
someone
somebody else.
else. We'll get into idea one day because it's
Yeah,
very, very deep, very profound.
yeah.
Good.
For nature is nothing but the will of God in action. Nature, because she is a power of spirit, is essentially qualitative in her action. One may almost say that nature is only the power of being and the development in action of the infinite qualities of the spirit.
Yeah, so qualitative.
Qualitative,
Well,
essentially qualitative in her action.
yes, and one may almost say that nature is only the power in being
Power.
and
Okay, I'm
of
reading too fast.
and yeah, and the development in action. So in being and in action of the infinite qualities of the spirit.
Okay.
Okay.
Nature is God's power of various self-becoming. A Gnostic supernature transcends all the values of our normal ignorant nature. Our standards and values are created by ignorance and therefore cannot determine the life of supernature. At the same time, our present nature is a derivation from supernature and is not a pure ignorance but a half knowledge.
It's very interesting that he puts it this way
Mm,
because it's so the Gnostic supernature does transcend all of our values in our
mm,
nature. That means everything that we have now on earth is only a half knowledge.
yeah,
All the laws that are made, all the doctrines that are presented are still just a half knowledge. They don't have the full truth in them because they are derivations from supernature and therefore they're not a pure ignorance,
mm,
but a half knowledge.
mm.
Okay. This is,
Fate,
yes, this is a beautiful line. I like this.
fate is a balance drawn in destiny's book. Man can accept his fate, he can refuse.
Now, I don't think we've done destiny,
No.
so we have to do that. It's very important. But the next three lines after that are the next two lines after that are very beautiful. We'll talk about those, but let's do destiny first. We have all three quotes from the letters on yoga.
Yeah. Destiny, in the rigid sense, applies only to the outer being so long as it lives in the ignorance. What we call destiny is only in fact the result of the present condition of the being and the nature and energies it has accumulated in the past, acting on each other and determining the present attempts and their future results. But as soon as one enters the path of spiritual life, this old predetermined destiny begins to recede. There comes in a new factor, the divine grace, the help of a higher divine force other than the force of karma, which can lift the sadhak beyond the present possibilities of his nature. One's spiritual destiny is then the divine election which ensures the future. That's very promising.
Very promising. Absolutely, yes.
The spiritual destiny always stands. It may be delayed or seem to be lost for a time, but it is never abolished.
That's even more promising.
Yeah. Each person follows in the world his own line of destiny, which is determined by his nature and actions.
By his own nature and
By his own nature and actions. The meaning and necessity of what happens in a particular life cannot be understood except in the light of the whole course of many lives. But this can be seen by those who can get beyond the ordinary mind and feelings and see things as a whole, that even errors, misfortunes, calamities are steps in the journey. The soul gathering experience as it passes through and beyond them until it is ripe for the transition which will carry it beyond these things to a higher consciousness and a higher life.
I have experienced this so much in my life
Mm,
with the deaths of so many loved ones,
mm,
many, many.
mm.
And there's no doubt about it that these are just steps in the journey.
Mm.
And it's the soul that's gathering experience as it passes through them and beyond them. I'm not so sure that I'm ripe for the transition yet, but at least I've gone through many of them. I've gathered the experiences of many of them. And there is the aspiration, therefore, for a higher consciousness and a higher life. So now he's speaking about fate. And he says these beautiful lines. You can read them.
Even if the one maintains the unseen decree, he writes thy refusal in thy credit page. For doom is not a close, a mystic seal.
So you can refuse your fate.
Mm-hmm.
But if the Lord says that you have to go through your fate,
Yeah,
and he maintains that unseen decree,
yeah,
he still writes your refusal in the credit page.
yeah,
You got it now, huh?
yeah,
How humorous and
yeah.
how,
That's
how beautiful.
yeah,
So the decree, of course, is the formal and authoritative order.
yeah,
You know,
yeah.
it's a command.
Come on, yeah,
So if you can accept your fate and you can refuse it. But
mm,
if you're not able to, because the one says you have to go through it,
yeah,
he writes your refusal in your credit page.
yeah.
And now we carry on.
And I also like it how he writes it in your credit page. Like,
Oh,
he's accepting of it. It's us who are like, fighting with ourselves, but he is putting us in credit.
yes, very, very true.
Arisen from the tragic crash of life, arisen from the body's torture and death, the spirit rises mightier by defeat. Its godlike wings grow wider with each fall. Wow.
And this is truly the sense of karma, the true sense of karma.
Yeah.
That doom is not this mystic seal, or not this close.
Yeah.
And when we rise above this tragic crash of life, and even from the body's torture and death,
Yeah.
the spirit rises mightier by defeat.
Mm-hmm.
That's something that I don't think any other sage or seer has ever spoken of. They usually say that, you know, you go to heaven because spirit rises mightier by defeat, but
Yeah.
it doesn't speak of the spirit's godlike wings growing wider with
Yeah.
each fall,
Yeah.
because that's the idea of the evolutionary progress.
Yeah.
We grow wider with each defeat, with each fall, with each stumble, and
Mm-hmm.
everything is seen above.
Mm.
Everything is seen by the Lord.
Yeah.
So carry on a little bit, and
Its
we'll,
splendid failures sum to victory. O man, the events that meet thee on thy road, though they smite thy body and soul with joy and grief, are not thy fate. They touch thee awhile and pass. Even death can cut not short. Even death can cut not short thy spirit's walk. Thy goal, the road thou choosest, are thy fate.
oh, how beautiful. Huh?
Yeah.
So the word smite.
Mm.
Smite is, it has many, many meanings, but basically it's in the literal sense, it's to inflict a heavy blow on.
Mm-hmm.
He smote. There's even smote is the past tense of smite.
Okay.
So, but here I think it's figurative, and it means to afflict or attack with deadly or disastrous effect.
Yeah.
So they smite thy body and soul. But then he says with joy and grief. So it's not just grief that it smites the body.
Yeah.
So it can smite the body with joy and the soul with joy. But these are
Yeah.
not fate. They touch thee a while and they pass. And then he says, even death can cut short your spirit's walk.
Mm-hmm.
Why? Because your goal and the road you choose are your fate.
Mm-hmm.
We'll read a few more lines.
Yeah.
Okay.
On the altar, throwing thy thoughts, on the altar, throwing thy thoughts, thy heart, thy works. Thy fate is a long sacrifice to the gods, till they have opened to thee thy secret self, and made thee one with the indwelling God.
So this altar, of course, is what they speak about, that you have to keep the lamp lit
Yeah,
on the altar.
yeah,
And you throw your thoughts, you throw your heart, you throw your works. But your fate is a long sacrifice. Sacrifice here means offering to
mm-hmm.
till until they have opened to thee your secret self and made you one with the indwelling God, not
Mm.
God that is outside of you, but the God is that is within you, the
Yeah,
divine within you. It's very, very powerful,
yeah,
beautiful.
yeah. Uh,
So,
I was thinking maybe instead of going further, maybe I can read from the magician's formula if we have time.
it's a very good idea, yes.
So then we
Very,
can also go through the recitation of the ones we did before and see how it is working now.
so that's on the other page, right?
Yeah, 457.
Yes. All here can change, or
A magician's formula? All
uh,
here can change. I
yeah,
have not. Yeah, I found all here can change. Yeah, that also. I'll start from there.
okay.
All here can change if the magician choose. If human will could be made one with God's, if human thought could echo the thoughts of God, man might be all knowing and omnipotent, but now he walks in nature's doubtful ray. Yet,
The only correction I would make again is that there's a comma. If human will could be made one with God's, if human thought could echo the thoughts of God. So you dropped God on both of those lines,
okay,
dropped your voice.
okay,
Because then he says, if all this can be done, you see, if human and if human two times,
yeah,
then man might be all knowing. And
yeah,
that's where the semicolon comes.
okay,
So you see, it's all one thing, and we have to be very careful to keep the integrity of the phrase of the
yeah,
passage.
okay,
Okay, from the beginning
okay.
or here.
All here can change if the magician choose. If human will could be made one with God's, if human thought could echo the thoughts of God, man might be all-knowing and omnipotent, but now he walks in nature's doubtful ray. Yet can the mind of man receive God's light. The force of man can be driven by God's force. Then is he a miracle doing miracles. For only so can he be nature's king. It is decreed and Satyavan must die. The hour is fixed, chosen the fatal stroke. What else shall be is written in her soul. But till the hour reveals the fatal script, the writing waits illegible and mute.
Did you say fateful? I thought you said fatal.
Fatal stroke and reveals the fateful script.
Good.
Fate is truth working out in ignorance. O King, thy fate is a transaction done at every hour between nature and thy soul, with God for its foreseeing arbiter.
Arbiter.
Fate, arbiter,
Arbiter.
arbiter. Fate is a balance drawn in destiny's book. Man can accept his fate, he can refuse. Even if the one maintains the unseen decree, he writes thy refusal in thy credit page. For doom is not a close, a mystic seal. Arisen from the tragic crash of life, arisen from the body's torture and death, the spirit rises mightier by defeat. Its godlike wings grow wider with each fall. Its splendid failures sum to victory. O man, the events that meet thee on thy road, though they smite thy body and soul with joy and grief, are not thy fate. They touch thee awhile and pass. Even death can cut not short thy even death can cut not short thy spirit's walk. Thy goal, the road thou choosest, are thy fate. On the altar, throwing thy thoughts, thy heart, thy works. Thy fate is a long sacrifice to the gods, till they have opened to thee thy secret self and made thee one with the indwelling God.
You're reading much, much better. Now, just the two comments that I would make would be to work a little bit more on the V sound.
Okay.
You didn't have many V's in this one, but
Yes.
you had one that you missed.
Victory. Did I miss victory? What did I miss?
And victory, yes.
Victory.
And the second one would be to be a little bit clearer on the D of and.
And okay. Yeah. I personally thought I must go a little more slower.
You did well. You did
Okay.
very well. Good reading. Very
Okay.
good reading.
Yeah.
And namaste.
Namaste and thank you so much.